All right, so in this video, I want to walk through something I've been building that's going to be the foundation for my microsite network. This isn't a promo, and it's definitely not finished. I just want to show how I'm thinking about structure, leads, and scaling sites without managing everything manually. So, this all started after I saw Jesse Cunningham talking about microsites, and specifically how building exact match or niche focused sites with a lead generation form can actually produce revenue. The concept itself isn't complicated, but the execution is. The biggest issue I kept running into was partners. You need real providers that are willing to accept referral leads. And once you have more than a couple of sites, managing that manually just doesn't scale. If the goal is to do this properly, you can't be hand building sites, copying forms, or manually routing leads. So, my objective with this app is pretty simple. I want to be able to produce 2 to 3 microsites per day. And when I say microsite, I'm not talking about a single landing page. I mean a 30 to 50 page website that's structured, indexable, and designed around a single intent. That's why I ended up building a solution that handles the entire loop, creating the website, capturing leads, and storing providers so leads can be routed quickly without rebuilding the process every time. All right, let's get into how this actually works. Everything starts under the Microsites tab. From here, I'll click Create Microsite. The first thing I need to do is select the format. There are two options here. One is Export Website, which generates PHP pages and includes an .htacess file, so the URLs are rewritten cleanly. No .php in the final site. The other option is Publish to WordPress, which pushes the site directly into a WordPress site. Additional setup is required for sending pages and images. For this example, I'm going to use the export option. After that, I move to the next step and fill out the initial form. This part is intentionally lightweight. The goal here isn't to fully build the site yet, it's just to create enough structure so I can access the management section. Once that's filled out, I click Create Site. And at this point, the microsite is created, and I'm taken into the management page. In this example, I'm using Cape Coral, Florida, even though I don't actually have a live site there yet. That's fine. This step is really about setting up the framework so everything else can be configured in one place. From here on out, everything happens inside the management section. Now we'll go through each tab and actually complete the site. Once all of these sections are filled out, the site is ready to be exported and uploaded to the server. The Basics tab is pretty straightforward. Most of this information was already filled out during the creation step, so there's usually not much to change here unless I want to tweak the niche or naming. Next is the Blueprint tab, and this is where most of the site structure gets created. This is where I generate all the pages for the microsite. When I click the Generate button, the system creates around 30 to 40 pages that I can use within the site. These aren't random pages, they're structured around the niche and designed to support the main intent of the site. Once this step is done, the foundation of the website is basically in place, and everything else builds on top of that. Next up is the Call to Action tab, and this is probably the most important part of the entire site. From here, I have two options. The first option is a click-out CTA, where every main button on the site redirects the visitor to a specific URL, usually an affiliate or partner website. The second option is Form Submission. In this mode, every page on the site routes the visitor toward a single main CTA page. That page can include a form, a phone number, or both, and that's how leads are captured. Next is the Pages tab. For this part, I'm going to switch over to the Daytona Beach site, since that one actually exists and it makes more sense to work with real pages. What you're seeing here is the full list of pages that were created earlier during the Blueprint step. This is where we actually start filling out each page. The structure is already there. Now it's just about completing the content for each page so the site is usable and ready to publish. Once these pages are filled out, the site moves from being a framework to an actual working website. From here, I can simply click the Autofill Content button on each page to get a starting point. That will populate the page with anywhere from about 800 to 1,400 words, depending on the page type. At the same time, it also generates the SEO title and meta description for that page, so everything is structured consistently from the start. Right now, I'll move through each page and click the autofill button manually. In the future, this will run as a background job so I don't have to click through every page one by one. Once all the pages have content, the site is ready to be exported. All right, heading back out of the Pages tab, the next stop is Theme. This part is pretty straightforward. Here, I'm just choosing the site's color palette, typography, button styles, and whether the site is light or dark mode. The end goal here is to generate a style sheet that controls the look and feel of the entire website. This is actually one of the pieces I'm still actively working on. Right now, the structure is in place, but the goal is for this to fully style the site consistently without having to touch individual pages. Once the theme is set, everything visually is ready to go. From there, I move over to the Publish tab. At this point, all the required pieces are done. Pages exist, content is filled out, the CTA is configured, and the theme is set. When everything is ready, I can simply click Export Site. That generates the final website and packages everything into a zip file. I can then download that zip file, which includes all of the site files needed to upload it to a server. For security and cleanup reasons, the download is only available for about 10 minutes before it's automatically deleted. Once that's downloaded, the site is ready to be uploaded and run completely on its own. So here it is. This is the first pass of the site. I'll be honest, I don't love it yet. But that's expected at this stage, and it's not something I'm trying to ship as final. There's still a lot of polishing to do, especially around visuals and how the pages actually feel when you move through the site. One of the next things I want to work on is page imagery, and more importantly, figuring out how to add something dynamic to these sites. For example, I'm thinking about building a database of available plans and then exporting that data as an XML file so each microsite can pull in dynamic plan information directly into the pages. That's the kind of thing that would move these from static SEO pages into something a little more useful and differentiated. My goal is to have this in a solid place by the end of the month, and at that point, really decide which types of services or niches I want to focus on. Once the app is finalized, the plan is to scale this. I want to start with about 100 sites, roughly 25 sites per niche, and see if I can actually pull in consistent leads. That's it for now. I'll keep posting updates as this evolves. If you want to follow along, like and subscribe.